Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to 2 Point Hospital. We are back in the final level of the Bigfoot DLC, Roquefort Castle. This is only the first Roquefort Castle. Apparently there are many, because this aristocratic family, the Roqueforts, have allowed us to borrow one of their castles to turn into a hospital for the neighbouring mountain community. So let's dive in. So there we go, welcome to Roquefort Castle. The family have also given us some technology that they commissioned to help revitalise party guests after their infamous cheese banquets. The cryomatic may have been designed for wineheads, but it's also found to have medical applications in this ghoulish part of the county. Okay, very interesting. So, we've unlocked Reanimation. Excellent. Zombie theme. Great. So we have a band of ghosts haunting the hospital. We need to get an attractiveness rating of 70%, a hospital value of $1.5 million, cure 150 patients, and capture 180 ghosts. Now, it looks like we've got plots here, but they're not actually unlocked. So this is a very interesting kind of start here. We've got like plots that we can build on here. We need to unlock that tiny little room there. Okay, right, this is cool. Plot 2, so we can kind of start going out in one certain direction. I love this. This is very cool. Right, let's dive in with some basic stuff. So, rather than actually putting a standard reception desk down, I am going to start by building a reception room. Something that I keep meaning to do and then forgetting is to save one of these as a blueprint. So we're going to pop one down here. We'll then have a doorway for it here. And then we'll stick 2 desks there and another one there. Cool, right, that will do for now. That's our reception area done. And then we'll also get up our GP's office, which is going to go here. And just for like sanity's sake, because we know what this is going to be like, we'll pop another one down as well. Then we're going to hire some assistants. Let's have a look. We don't have any decent doctors there. I will bring in... We've got one with stamina training here. We'll have Isabella Dick work here for now. Then we'll get a new hire. We'll bring in our first assistant. Okay, Tim Manners seems to have good manners. Great, cool. Tim, you're in. And then let's see if we can get a janitor. So we've got one with maintenance here, and I'll wait, I guess, for someone to come in with ghost capture. We'll leave everything else here. I think we could probably do with maybe one of these two, Forbes Solomon or Frobish or Sob. Nah, we'll get rid of them all. We'll want to refresh here because there's not great staff choices for us. So we'll get things started. And yeah, we've got ghosts running around already. They don't run, but you know. And we've just got to wait a bit of time. Hopefully we'll get some patients coming in now. An attractiveness rating of 70%. There's no point... Oh, they come up the cable car. Very cool. Very cool. But as you can see, we've got some issues here already. The ghosts are dropping ectoplasm everywhere. And yeah, we need to get things underway as quickly as possible. But we've got 4 days until we get a new staff pool. Hopefully some with ghost capture so we can start eating away at this objective. And then we should hopefully learn our treatment room here. Right, okay, so we are going to get him to wait. We'll then pop down a room. Let's go with a general diagnosis. That often is the first step on our treatment pathway. So what nurses do we have? George Dynamite, who happens to be diagnosis trained. Fantastic. Now, Brandy Green we will also bring in to work in GP's office, and we will train Brandy up. Rich Vacuum is another one we can bring in, and what I'll do is I'll very quickly build a training room. And we will have him train in ghost capture, and then we can start eating away at that objective. I'm going to build my training room over on this side of the hospital here. And then we'll immediately queue up our first lot of training in ghost capture. There we go. Right, we'll bring in Peter Geist. Very good, very good. And again, we'll send them for treatment, and it should hopefully tell us what we need. What do we need? An injection room. We'll send you home then. Yeah, we can't treat anyone in an injection room yet. That's way too complex for us. So we're just going to continue to send them home. What we should also do is just bump down, for now, our diagnosis decision. Threshold. We'll bump it down to 75%. And that should help us out. Once this ghost capture's done, we can start eating away at those capture ghost objectives. And again, we'll send them home. If I can get a nurse in very soon who's trained in injection rooms, we will pop down the injection room and get that on the go, because it seems like it's a lot of injection room based stuff. So we'll get our injection room prepped and ready. We'll put it down here. And then hopefully we'll get a nurse in who can administer injections in this next kind of intake of staff. No, we don't, but we'll bring Charlie Mackerel in, and as soon as this training's finished, we'll have an injection trainee come in. Actually, what I'll do is I'll duplicate my training room here so that we can run 2 training courses at the same time. Because the quicker we get this done, the quicker we'll actually be able to start curing patients, so why not? So that's on the go. We'll get our diagnosis, our ghost captures ready. So we can have people working in the injection room, but obviously, what have they got going on there? They've got... Amazing, amazing. We've killed him. Great, good start, good start. That's another ghost for us. So our ghost capture has now been trained, and then we'll bring in a general diagnosis trainee. So we have a student doctor here who can train in general practice. We might as well get started on that journey immediately. Right, okay, so things aren't looking too bad. Our hospital value has decreased quite a bit though. So we've gone down from $250,000 to $192,000, purely because we have messed up our reputation a little bit. I think that does impact your value. And there we go, we have captured our first ghost. I think probably the next step to do for now is to just adjust our prices as well. So we'll bring up our prices tab here. We'll pop that all the way up to 50% more expensive so that we can bring in a little bit of money. So I'm going to get this ward patient to wait, and then we can pop down our ward. And we'll put the ward here. And then we're going to need a nurse. Ooh, Max Claridge can work in both injection and ward. That could be useful. So we'll have you come in. And for now, we're going to have you just work in diagnosis-based stuff. And you know the drill. I like to mix up my staff so that they're only working in stuff that they're fully qualified to do. So we can do this, and injection room only for you. But then we can start adding in the various training sort of stuff. What I'm also going to do is going to switch my ward from no diagnosis only, so it's just going to have treatment based stuff in there. We are not going to promote any of our staff right now, because it will then lead to them having to boost their wages, which we really don't want. Now, hospital attractiveness from our staff there of 70%. So while we are on here, and what we can try and do is try and keep everything that we do in this 1-star objective limited to areas that we have currently got unlocked. So what we want to do is just make sure that we are decorating this area. Then if we don't expand and move into a new plot, we should just be able to maintain our attractiveness rating of 70%. I mean, we might not be able to get our hospital value all the way up doing that, but we can but try. We're not, again, we're going to refuse to promote any of our staff members for now. That capture 180 ghosts should fly by. You see our hospital attractiveness has dropped a little bit, and that's due to the fact that we have ghosts wandering around and need to clean up ectoplasm and stuff. Nurses, we've got another diagnosis trained nurse there I'm going to bring in. And again, we will just have them work in diagnosis-based rooms. So it's all starting to, you know, you can kind of see what I'm aiming for with this, just to try and get things set up and get a decent staff quota in. And what we'll do is we'll probably have to prepare a surgeon. So if I can get Kimmy here. Now Kimmy is going to start doing training gradually in surgery. But we'll have them being able to do everything. So if we can just start getting their surgery rating up by training them. And we might want to do the same for someone who can work in the DNA lab. If we start doing this at an early stage, we should have them fully trained by the time we get to the kind of nitty-gritty of the level. Now here, I've just brought in a ward/treatment-based nurse who will only work in the ward for now. And then what we can do is we can boost the number of people we allow into our ward up by an extra 1. And that should give us a boost to our treatment power in the ward as well. So at the moment, the only real concern is going to be getting the hospital value up. Because everything else is just going to happen quite naturally. We'll be able to do all of these cures and stuff very easily. Now, Charlie Mackerel here, we can start training him in treatment when we get an opportunity to do so. So what we should probably do is just get these 2 nurses here. We are going to start them on diagnostics level 2. We'll bring a guest trainer in, and then we can start boosting our treatment pathway as quickly as possible. So getting nurses in who can work in these diagnosis rooms, and what we might actually do is, rather than having them, you know, at the moment it doesn't necessarily matter how well we actually do in terms of our treatment pathway. What does matter is getting our staff plenty of experience. So making sure that we're able to get these staff trained as quickly as possible up to their max level might be a better way for us to go before we start thinking about expanding and stuff. So if we try and send this patient for treatment, let's see what it gives us as an option. Okay, nothing. So we must be able to treat that. Next up then, we're going to have to start putting in some benches and stuff, because as you can see, the queues are already starting to form, and we need to give our guests somewhere to sit down. So we'll get some nice little benches put in down here. We put another one outside the injection room. And then here we can add in... Oh god, hailstorms. That's not good. I don't know why I've put benches outside the training room, but we'll... Maybe the staff need to wait for some training. Right, that's some benches put in place. We can also put in... Let's put in some hand sanitizers. Just dotting it around the hospital, just to try and keep the health of our patients up. And radiators, that's going to be the next thing we need to put down. So if I can just squeeze a radiator in here, another one in here, one in there, one in the injection room if possible. That sorts the heating out, and we get back up to an attractiveness level of 70%. And now it's just a case of moving on through the treatment pathway to try and get everybody cured as much as possible.
If you don't hear from me again, you will know why.
So ward is a big one for us at the moment. We can go 90 days without a death for a staff request here. And that's about it, basically. For now, we just need to let things grow at a slow rate, make sure that we're looking after our patients, curing as many as possible, and not falling into debt. We could potentially build another general diagnosis, because I am noticing a little bit of a snarl up happening here. So we'll pop down a second general diagnosis, and then I'll just move this. Sell that plant, actually. We don't need that. We have killed someone, and there goes our 90 days without a death. What a shame. I can upgrade the Jab Master, but I do want to put a toilet in. So we're going to do that first. What I'll do is I will, again, we'll continue to refuse to promote staff. We'll bring up our overview. I'll just change the diagnosis policy down to 70% now, and we'll just try and get people cured so we can make a bit of money without promoting our staff. We'll then go through our training queues and stuff. So I'm gonna jump ahead potentially to the end of this. Well, yeah, we'll jump ahead to the end of this year, and then we'll see how we're getting on. Okay, so we've reached the end of our first year. We've won Best Teaching Hospital, Employer of the Year, and Most Prestigious Hospital. So I think the only thing we can do here is let things go through. We'll see what we get. We need reanimation and psychiatry for our next kind of little bit of an expansion. So what we'll do is we'll send that patient home, and then these 2 reanimations, we'll also send them home. And then again, sending a patient for treatment. So for now, we are going to need, so it looks like reanimation is going to be the next big thing. So we're going to have to add that one in. Now, the minimum room size is 4x4, and I think that means I can fit it down here, which is really good. We'll put the reanimation chamber in here. The cryomatic, my apologies, and then we'll put the large radiator in. For now, we'll leave it at prestige level 2, and then our psychiatry, we will send them home as well. Now, it looks like, I think reanimation requires a doctor, so treatment-based doctors are going to be our next thing to hire. So I've got a doctor here who has no qualifications. We'll bring them in. We'll also bring in a nurse, and we will train these two side by side. We're also going to need a doctor trained in psychiatry. So we have these two student doctors ready for treatment training. And we'll have the junior nurse do it, which will save us a little bit of money. Then we can build our psychiatry. And that will fit in quite nicely down there. Cool. Right, so we've got the psychiatry in place. We do need a doctor who is trained in psychiatry, which we don't have access to right now. That is fine. What I'm going to look to do now is bring in 2 trainee doctors. And then those doctors will train up in psychiatry and DNA. Because my imagination tells me that we're going to be dealing with a lot of DNA-based patients again, because it's the most difficult illness to treat, and they always like to throw it in there as your reputation level continues to increase. There's no real way to adjust that level. You can tank your hospital and make things going, like, you can make things bad in there, and that will mess things up, and you will start to see things drop down a little bit. Again, I've got another junior nurse here who we can potentially train in diagnosis. I'm going to bring in a second assistant. Now, we do need to be careful with our finances. We need to make sure that we've got enough to cope with any issues. That janitor could be vital there because they're good at training. So, yeah, we're looking okay. We do need to bring in... There's a junior doctor we can bring in, and we will have them learn psychiatry. We'll bring in a guest trainer and train up our student doctor in psychiatry, which is good. That means we can start using our psychiatry room, and yeah, we're looking pretty good at this moment in time. Obviously, our hospital value does fluctuate. It was just under $1 million before, and it's now dropped to $756,000, which is not too bad, actually, given the early stage of this level. So curing 150 patients is the thing that's going to take us a fair bit of time. We do need to put in a level 4 staff room, so I might as well actually do that now, if we've got a little bit of space where we can fit it. In fact, we do have a little bit of space where we can fit it. Let's sell that sunflower. I'm going to send all of these patients home, because, oh, actually, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to train that to treatment only. We don't want people coming in here for diagnosis. We just want to be able to treat them. But we've got a load of people who have further diagnosis required here, but we're going to try and ignore them as much as we can. Like, what I'd really like to do is just have stuff come through, but not to the point where, you know, we're getting ourselves in a bit of a situation where things are difficult to treat and messing up our treatment pathway. So anything that could potentially be used as a diagnosis room as well, we're not going to allow diagnosis to happen in there. It's just got to have those key components so that we can get our staff, you know, make sure that they're not overexerting themselves, making sure that we're able to treat our patients in an accordingly manner. We don't want to be diagnosing in treatment rooms. It just doesn't make sense, given that, you know, we can boost diagnosis with a bunch of other things. We can use the proper diagnosis rooms, like get the mega scanner up and running, get like more doctors trained in diagnosis, and just make sure that we're doing it all that way. It's a much better way to grow than having these rooms get snarl ups. Like, we've got 6 beds in this ward, right? But if we end up with 6 of those beds being occupied by people who just need further diagnosis, it's going to impact us quite severely. The ghost capture's going pretty well, though. We're going to have that done very quickly, I would imagine. We're already at 62, and then it's just going to be a case of curing our patients and getting our hospital value and attractiveness back up. Like, I mean, our attractiveness we can actually continue to boost now with some nice decorative items. So we can put in, like, these little things that just boost everything. We'll put the orrery in there. That takes us up to 70%. The silver fox, we can put him in the edge here. Then the pine cone can go in this open space. So you can see there's lots of opportunity for us to decorate this place. There's plenty of real estate in here that we can add in bits and pieces to really boost the attractiveness. So it shouldn't take us long to get all of that solved and make it look good. We're at 75% there. So even if we put in some more of these like puzzling cubes and stuff, we're going to push even further. There we go. That'll do. 77% is pretty good. And our value is now just under 1 million. With 26 patients of 150 cured. So the next step, we're just going to jump ahead to the end of the year. I'll talk about what awards we've won, and we'll see where we are in terms of staff, finances, and like reputation and things, because that's going to be the key. If our reputation goes too high, we're not going to be able to train our staff in the way that we want to. We're going to fall behind with certain things. So we have this junior nurse here. I'm going to quickly train them in diagnostics too. We'll bring in the other junior nurse to do that. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. So I will see you at the end of this year. All right, so at the end of this year, we've won Most Prestigious Hospital, Employer of the Year, and Best Teaching Hospital for the 2nd year in a row. And we've also picked up the Rising Star Award for Alison Nosh. Now, things haven't really changed much. I did do a little bit of staff rotation. So you can see here, if we look at our doctors, we now have doctors qualified in most things, apart from Isabel here, who, while stamina training's great, I'd probably like to swap Isabel to something else. We've then got nurses who are looking all pretty much topped out on the stuff that I want them to have. Brangelina Tart here, we're going to try and get her ready for a promotion. Then we promote all 3 of these staff members at once. I'm also trying to get a brand new non-trained nurse in there as well, so I can have a new pathway for ward management, which means we'll then finally be able to build that fracture clinic that we have been demanded by a number of patients. Over here, I have a staff member here who's ready for training in psychology level 2. We've then got Kimmy Crusts, who we can upgrade now in their surgery. So we'll get that done. So we can promote them. Oh, I should have taken that on after I'd accepted that quest. But never mind, we will bring in Kimmy Crusts, our junior doctor, to train in surgery level 2. We'll bring in a guest trainer, and there we have it. Right, we've got more staff promotions coming in now. Let's have a quick look. So Sylvia Malarkey, we can train in psychiatry level 2. This one, Ursula Stench, can train in treatment level 2, and we do have a nurse here in Luda Findlater who's ready for treatment level 2 as well. So what I'll then do is we'll promote both of these staff members. Then we'll find the other treatment-based one, who was the nurse, and we will promote them. Again, we'll just continue sending patients home that we don't intend on treating right now. We'll get both of our trainees in, and we will train them in treatment level 2. There we go. Right, that's good. That means we can continue our treatment pathway, and everything's looking pretty good. We've got 69 more ghosts left to capture and 110 patients left to treat. Our hospital value is 1.183 million out of 1.5. So this has been a decent start. However, our our general diagnosis rooms do need some TLC. You can see we have queues starting to form there, but we don't actually have staff who are particularly well trained. Brandy Green is the only one. We could have Isabel do some training there, but I don't think it's going to help us. So we are going to need to do that as well and get that sorted out. Also, you'll notice that all of my staff are just able to work in any rooms at the moment. This is just to try and get their experience up very quickly. So when you have a staff member who's just training on treatment and you force them to only work in treatment rooms, they have to wait quite a long time to get to the end of that treatment pathway for a staff member to actually do the work, which is why I'm allowing them to work in general diagnosis as well. So the next step is going to be for this year, basically improving the staff that we currently have and making sure that we get them up to as high a level as possible before we continue to expand. We can unlock plot 2 here, but right now I don't want to do that. I just want to make sure that I've got everything working nicely in this initial startup area. What we might do is move this reception area into the middle here so that there's plenty of space around for new like patients to sit and get seen to, then we'll add another general diagnosis room in there. I keep saying general diagnosis, I mean GP's office. But yes, we're going to jump ahead to the end of this year, and then we'll do a quick update as we move on. Okay, that brings us to the end of year 3, where we've once again won the Rising Star Award, Employer of the Year, Most Prestigious Hospital, and Best Teaching Hospital. So it's been a good year, and we've kind of solidified things. I have moved this GP's office down at this little corner here, and that should solve the queues. That's also allowed us to put in our fracture ward, because we now have 4 staff members who are trained in ward management, 3 of which are going up to level 2 now. We've also got Charlie Mackerel here, who's ready for training. We'll probably get him done in treatment very soon to boost the effectiveness of him working in our injection lab. Everything else is looking pretty good. We've got some GPs coming in now, and that's kind of allowed the doctors to get sorted out. We do have a genetics trained staff member who's ready to go once I feel comfortable enough to get the genetics lab in there. But other than that, we're looking pretty good. I'm going to have some training done here on this junior janitor. We're going to boost his motivation using Alison Nosh, our head janitor, and then we'll just basically have him as our chief ghost capture, and we'll boost his efficiency as much as possible. But other than that, it's again, we're going to jump ahead another year, because we're still getting demands for the doghouse and things, and I'm trying to just send all of these patients home and work within our means for this final level, because managing our budget is going to be key here, and we need to make sure that we're doing that as best we can. Once we get our 1-star objective complete, which I think is totally achievable in this small area, we'll prep for our 2-star objectives by unlocking the next set of plots, which will mainly include plot 2, 3, and 10. Then we've got this large space here which we can grow into for the 2-star objectives. Again, we're going to continue rejecting emergencies and trying to send patients for treatment despite having a very low threshold now of 50%. I think that's serving us well at this moment in time. Once I feel comfortable, by the time we get our 1-star objectives done, we should have trained up quite a few staff members at a high level, and that will allow us to build some of those more risky rooms. So I will see you at the end of year 4, and we'll see what awards we've won when that comes around. Okay, for this year we haven't actually won the Rising Star Award, but we do have Most Prestigious Hospital, Employer of the Year, and Best Teaching Hospital. There have been a few changes. We've now added our DNA lab. We have moved this staff room over here. We've also added the Deluxelux, and all of these machines are in the process of being upgraded to their max level. Other than that, the training has gone very well. We've got a load of doctors now and nurses who are on like the 3rd skill level of their training pathway, and a few who are definitely ready for promotion. So it's looking pretty good. We do have a staff resignation warning here from this head janitor, so we are going to promote them now. And that should again solve the resignation warning, but we'll also train them in something. So let's have a quick look at what we can actually train them in. And it looks like I have a senior. This is the senior janitor here. They can train in maintenance. So what we'll do is we'll train them in maintenance level 3. We'll bring a guest trainer in and we'll get that done. We also had the assistant there. So we'll bring them in and train them in customer service rank 3. And we'll have our senior assistant do that training. So it's all looking pretty good. We've completed our capture 180 ghosts objective. We've got 48 patients left to cure, and our hospital value should continually increase because our profits are looking pretty good. The thing that we have kind of done very well is not promoting those staff members. And what I have noticed is once we actually get a staff resignation warning, it's usually because they haven't got that promotion, so we just immediately promote them and then do it. But you can see in our list here, we've got a few staff members who are definitely ready. These 2 we will promote together and then train them in psychiatry level 3 together, which is really good. And then we've got a couple of GPs here who are also ready. I think we have 3 GPs there, 4 GPs who are at level 1, and a couple that are at level 2. So we can potentially do with hiring another GP. I'm going to grab this one here who's already trained well. And then I've also spotted a DNA lab. And was that treatment? Yes, it was. Excellent. Great. So that's good as well. So we'll continue this training queue, we'll jump ahead to the end of this next year, or if we do manage to get close to our objectives, I will be back then. But we're not planning on developing anything further in this hospital until we reach our 1-star objective, so that we can try and keep within our means. Things are looking really good though, and I'm quite pleased with the progress we've made on this level so far. One more resignation warning to sort out here. It's rich vacuum, and it is again, a promotion will solve it. There we go, nice and easy. Right, I will see you further on into the level. Our hospital value is just ticked over 1.5 million, so we shouldn't be far off now. 39 patients to go, and we should be there. We do have a request for a level 4 fluid analysis, so I'm going to try and squeeze that in because, again, that will help with our diagnosis pathway. So let's jump on ahead. So we've got about 7 patients left to cure before our 1-star objectives are complete. We're in the middle of an emergency for injection ratings as well, which is really good. And then we are just clearing up a few more ghosts. We did have a hailstorm earlier on and a ghost invasion, which was a bit of a nightmare, but we've happily managed to get it all cleaned up. Just having a look at our staff training here while we wait. We don't have anyone ready yet, but we do have a few queued up for promotion. So we've got 2 nurses here who we can upgrade to ward management level 3, and it looks like the other 2 are lagging a little bit behind. So what we'll do is we'll promote those 2 now, then we can get them on the pathway to ward management level 3. That was a very successful emergency as well. All 4 patients cured. We'll bring in both of those nurses and get them trained in ward management level 3 with a guest trainer. Got plenty of money, which means when we get this 1-star objective complete, we'll be taking on all 3 of the new plots, which is brilliant because that's going to give us a load of space to grow into. And there we go, 1-star complete. We've unlocked the monster Mishmash poster, the luxury armchair, and we also have an achievement for earning 1 star in each of the hospitals on this DLC. So the next objectives are to get a hospital value of 3 million, which we are already well on the way to, cure 25 patients with monster Mishmash, capture 300 ghosts, and cure 300 patients. So that's very, very achievable for us, but we are going to move into all of these plots here, which does take us down, but we do have a nice bit of money to play around with. And that's then going to allow us to expand and move some of the items in here around, because we do have a little bit of a weird looking hospital at the moment in terms of its layout. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this staff room here, and we're going to move it all the way over to here, and we're just going to have it quite a small long corridor type of room. Actually, we're not going to do that. We are going to leave that staff room there. What I will do though is I'll make some new toilets and stuff. So we will do a little bit of a redevelopment here, moving some rooms around before we start our next episode where we tackle the 2 and 3 star objectives. But it's going to be very much a lot of the same sort of thing where we do have to cure a certain number of patients. We're going to be jumping through the years and working out what's good at the end of each one. I'll go through a little bit of expansion that we do, and we will just try to keep things going as they are. Our reputation is very poor at the moment, which isn't great, but it's mainly because of our prices. We've increased those quite dramatically. They're at like 50% more on everything. So we are going to need to, I'm going to reset that and then just make sure that everything is at 50% more expensive. I don't mind the reputation being low because it's really helping us to manage the traffic flow through the hospital. Whilst our reputation is low, the actual hospital level is pretty high at this moment in time. And the one problem I always have is if my reputation's large and the hospital level is large, that's when we start to get these queues. You can see right now we're managing very well with 3 GP's officers. This is normally not the case at this point in a level for me anyway. And yeah, that's a good issue to have because we're able to cope with any sort of issues that we might have at this moment in time. That might change though. So moving forward, we're going to do some redevelopment here. I'll talk you through that when we come back for our next episode here in Roquefort Castle. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you drop me a like, a comment, and a subscribe. Tell me what you liked, and if you are new here, I'd love to have you along for the ride, so feel free to click that subscribe button, and I will see you for some more 2-point hospital or campus if that's your thing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.